Our world faces a convergence of crises: economic instability, climate breakdown, and deepening inequality that threaten the foundations of our societies. Access to essentials like clean water, electricity, and healthcare is increasingly uncertain for billions, turning basic needs into privileges. Amid this uncertainty, a quiet revolution is emerging, not in the streets, but in communities and council chambers worldwide. Ordinary citizens are rejecting the failed promises of privatization, which prioritized profit over people and left many behind. Communities from Johannesburg to Jakarta are pushing back, demanding services that serve the public good, not just shareholders. This movement isn't about nostalgia for old state-run monopolies, but about building new, democratic, and sustainable models of public service. These models are rooted in values of equity, accountability, and environmental stewardship. Across continents, communities are proving that alternatives to privatization are not only possible, but effective. This is the story of a global shift, a quiet revolution of hope and resilience in an age of crisis. Let's explore how this movement is reshaping our future. In the 1980s and 90s, privatization was sold as the path to progress, with institutions like the World Bank promising efficiency and innovation. Governments, pressured by debt and enticed by promises of modernization, handed public utilities to private companies. The reality? Instead of lower prices and better services, many communities faced higher tariffs, neglected infrastructure, and mass layoffs. Private monopolies often replaced public ones, with even less accountability. Iconic failures, from Bolivia's water crisis to the UK's rail debacle, revealed a pattern of disappointment. The grand experiment of privatization left a legacy of disillusionment, especially for the most vulnerable. The search for real solutions began as communities demanded alternatives. The promise of privatization was unfulfilled. Now, people are reclaiming their right to essential services. The story of alternatives begins here. The myth of public sector failure ignores countless success stories, public services that deliver quality, equity, and sustainability. Uruguay's OSE, for example, achieved near-universal water access and affordable tariffs through public commitment and skilled management. When privatization threatened, Uruguayans enshrined water as a public good in their constitution, protecting a vital asset. These successes show that public ownership, when well-managed and accountable, can outperform private models. Defending strong public services means celebrating their achievements and learning what makes them work. It requires vigilance and active participation from citizens and civil society to keep these institutions thriving. By highlighting what works, we can shift the debate from public versus private to building effective, accountable public institutions. These stories are blueprints for the future, not relics of the past. The foundation for change is already here. Not all public institutions are perfect. Many need deep democratic reform, not privatization. The solution is to transform public services from within, making them transparent, accountable, and participatory. Real reform means empowering citizens with oversight, open data, and genuine opportunities to co-design services. Porto Alegre's participatory budgeting, for example, let residents decide how public funds were spent, improving neglected neighborhoods. Such models build trust and collective ownership, turning rigid bureaucracies into dynamic, community-embedded organizations. Reform is about making services truly public in spirit and practice, prioritizing social and environmental goals. With sustained political will, we can build resilient, equitable public services for the 21st century. The path is challenging, but the rewards are transformative. The future of public services depends on our commitment to real change. When privatization fails, communities worldwide are reclaiming essential services, a movement known as remunicipalisation. This isn't a return to old models, but a chance to create better, more accountable public ownership. Paris famously took back its water system, lowering tariffs and boosting investment through a new public utility. Buenos Aires renationalized water after private operators failed to serve the poor, expanding access to millions. Even in the UK, public support for reclaiming water is growing after private mismanagement. These examples show that taking back control restores fairness, accountability, and long-term vision. Remunicipalisation is a pragmatic response to failed privatization, proving that public solutions work. The global wave is gaining momentum, inspiring cities everywhere. The power to shape our services is in public hands once again. Beyond defending or reclaiming, the next frontier is building entirely new forms of public services for today's challenges. Grassroots innovation is leading the way, like African communities creating renewable energy microgrids, bypassing fossil fuel dependence. These decentralized, cooperative models empower people as both producers and consumers, tackling energy poverty and climate change. In the US, public broadband networks are bridging the digital divide where private companies failed. Governments can act as partners, supporting community-led initiatives with funding and expertise. These experiments aren't perfect, but they offer a glimpse of resilient, equitable, and sustainable public services. The future is being built from the ground up. Radical public innovation is possible, if we dare to imagine it. Sometimes, the best alternatives are rooted in history, cooperatives, and collective management. For centuries, communities managed resources through mutual aid and shared ownership, offering a third way beyond state or private control. In the Philippines, health cooperatives empower patients to govern their own care, focusing on prevention and community well-being. Rural America's electric co-ops brought power to millions when private utilities refused, and now lead in renewables. Cooperatives foster local self-reliance, social capital, and democratic control. The public sphere is broader than the state. It includes the commons, managed collectively for the common good. Revitalizing this cooperative ethos is a powerful strategy for building resilient alternatives. When people unite to solve their own problems, they create enduring democratic institutions. The cooperative spirit is key to a just public future. Public ownership alone isn't enough. Real transformation requires changing how services operate and who they serve. Overcoming bureaucracy, political interference, and exclusion is essential for building trust and effectiveness. Many public systems have historically failed marginalized communities, perpetuating inequality. True public services must prioritize equity, extending access and including all voices in governance. The values of democracy, accountability, and transparency matter more than legal ownership. Sometimes, cooperatives or partnerships embody public values better than rigid state enterprises. Embedding these values ensures services genuinely work for everyone. The real work is making public services truly serve the public. We face profound challenges, but also a unique opportunity to rethink how we meet our collective needs. Around the world, communities are proving that public alternatives are practical, viable, and growing. There's no one-size-fits-all solution. Diversity is our strength. What unites these efforts is a commitment to democracy, equity, and accountability. Robust public services are essential to tackle climate change, inequality, and economic instability. Only a revitalized public sector working with communities can meet these challenges. This is a call to action, to get involved, demand transparency, and co-create the services we need. The evidence is clear. Rebuilding public services is essential for our survival and prosperity. The future is public, if we choose to make it so. Let's build it together.